Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny, as I was setting everything up to record this video, I was thinking about how long it's been since the last time I made a video like this, and I'm thinking I might actually be a little awkward, to say the least, because it's just been so long since I set up a video and just recorded it on my own. If you guys have been following along, obviously you've seen I've been doing the podcast and keeping up with that, but I did take a little bit of time off from posting videos like this type of style, just because I had some personal stuff going on, and it was really hard for me to, I guess, get motivated to do much of anything. But we are back in business, baby. Great day to be great. But in this video, since this is going to be my first, I guess, YouTube video, not podcast style video in 2022, I kind of wanted to go over some different things that I really want to do in 2022, some different things I want to accomplish, and maybe in a year in 2023, we can come back to this video and see how all those things panned out. And this isn't going to be anything extravagant. I'm not going to say I want to build insane things.
Guys,
these are going to be very general goals that I feel like I can achieve to just better myself overall as a whole. So hopefully you guys get some sort of value out of this. Hopefully you guys get some insight as to how I think about these things. If you do, make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe. As always, it's absolutely free to do so because we are going to be posting regularly again. So the first thing I really want to do a better job of in 2022 is I really want to plan out my days a little bit better. So one thing that I found is that I always have all these plans in my head. Maybe it's the night before, maybe it's the day of, and I say to myself, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I'm going to bang everything out. I'm going to get it all done, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. But sometimes I've found that if I don't plan it out, I guess, with specific times, a lot of the times I just push it off, or I forget about it, or I get busy doing some other project or something else, and it's just a lot, I don't want to say a hassle, but mentally it's a lot harder for me to continue on that path and continue to get all those things done. So what I want to do, and what I've tried in the past, is I want to write it down. So for example, 9 to 10, I'm going to do this. 10 to 11, I'm going to do this. 11 to 12, I'm going to do this. Things like that. And I have tried that in the past before, but the issue I've had in the past is a lot of the times I'll write it in a notebook, or I'll write it down on a piece of paper somewhere, and I'll just close that notebook, or I'll put the piece of paper somewhere where I just don't look at it. And then the cycle starts to repeat itself where I just kind of forget and I don't end up doing it, and I get busy doing some other project or something else. So what I'm going to do is I took the whiteboard that was right behind me that I was using for all those stock analysis videos and all those other type of videos I was doing in the past, and I just kind of put it in my living room right in front of the TV. I live by myself, so it's not like it's an inconvenience to anyone else at all, except me when I trip over it in the middle of the night. But I feel like writing down the time and what I want to do during that time frame and physically seeing it every single time I walk past it, it's always going to remind me, and it's just going to help me stay on track a lot better than I would if I had written it down in a notebook, or if I had written it down on a piece of paper and just lost the piece of paper. So I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now because, as I'm going to make a future video about, I don't believe in starting New Year's resolutions on New Year's. I think if you have an idea or you want to change something, you should really just start it right away. But hey, you know what? That's me, to each own. I understand everyone has different situations, and that might not be for everyone. But as I've started to do it so far for the past couple of weeks, I have seen great results. I've been sticking to this schedule. Some things have to get removed around. I don't think it has to be completely to a T, but I really like it, and I'm going to continue doing it, and I'm excited to see how much more productive I can be during 2022 as I continue to do this and as I continue to plan things out in advance. Another thing it also does is, say I have some things I want to do, some projects I want to work on, but maybe one of my friends wants to go out and do something, get food, or whatever the case may be. It allows me to see that my schedule is actually busier because I can physically look at it and I can say, no, I'm sorry, I can't go out because I have to edit this video, or I want to learn this new skill that I've been trying to learn, or whatever the case may be. And that kind of brings me to the second thing I really want to get a lot better at in 2022, which is I want to be more of a no man. And basically, to make things really simple, what a no man is exactly what it sounds like. If someone wants to do something, the majority of the time you say no. And I read this book, and I can't remember the name of the author, but the book was called Hell Yeah or No. And essentially what was taught in that book, it was a very, very short book. I read it in probably like an hour. It was very, very short, but it was very insightful, I guess you could say. And what I learned in that book is when you're asked to do something or when you're going to do something, your response should be, hell yeah. If it's like, oh, I guess I'll go, I guess I'll do this, I guess I'll do that, then the answer should really be no. And what this is going to allow you to do, and I know I made a video on this in the past, but what this is going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to have the time, the resources, the energy, so you're not missing out on any of the great things in life because you're saying no to all the fluff in life. And again, I feel like by doing this and becoming a no man and using that hell yeah or no mentality, I'm really going to be A, a lot more productive, and B, I'm going to cherish those times I go out and celebrate and whatever the case may be, because there's much fewer situations that fit into that criteria. The third thing I really want to do in 2022, and I've been working on this for basically a while now, but I feel like the last 3 or 4 months I've really stepped it up a notch, and I really want to continue to step it up a notch for the rest of this year, is I want to be more in the present moment. So I feel like a lot of the time, especially with social media taking on a life of its own, we aren't in the present moment, and I find that as a very big issue. I feel a lot of the times I'll be talking to someone, and I'm guilty of this too. I'll be talking to someone or someone will be talking to me, and I can just tell they're not listening. They're thinking about the Instagram post they just saw or something that's going on outside of the conversation. And the same thing with me. Maybe I saw something on social media, or maybe I saw something on TV, and I'm just not even listening to what that person is saying. And I'm thinking about the future, I'm thinking about the past, and I really want to get away from that, and I really want to just be more in the present moment. And I feel like this does a lot of things. I feel like it really helps with focus. I feel like it really helps with relationships. And I feel overall, it's just something we should all try to achieve, especially if you're out with someone you don't see very often. For example, I've gone out with a couple of friends over the past month or so that I haven't seen in legitimately years. One of them I don't think I've seen in 5 years, which is a very long time. That's like 20% of my life. So I really didn't want to think, I haven't seen you in 5 years, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I really wanted to think, I'm here with you for the next hour or two. Let's talk, catch up, really see where we are at in each other's lives, as opposed to thinking more along the lines of, I may never see you again. I don't want to have that mindset. I don't think that's the right mindset to have. And like I said, I think this will do a lot for me in the future as I get better and better at this. And I really think maybe you should try it as well. And I think you'll be really astonished at what comes of it. The fourth thing I want to do in 2022, and you guys can obviously tell that I'm already doing this by watching this video, is I really want to get the channel back on track and really start posting consistently and more often. And I think by becoming a no man and planning out my days, I'm going to be really good at sticking to a schedule like I was in the past. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I did have some personal issues going on, so it was really tough for me to push out content, but I really thought about this, and I thought I genuinely enjoy creating content for people to watch. Even if people don't watch it, I think it's cool to continue to make content and continue to get better at making content and just have a goal you're working towards at the end of the day. And I think you should also have a goal you're working towards at the end of the day, whether that's a professional career goal or maybe it is some entrepreneurial goal. Wow, I said that right on the first try. That's always a tongue twister for me. But I feel like you should be working towards something, and I feel like it's just a good feeling at the end of the day to have your own personal projects that you're working on and not just sit around watching Netflix and doing nothing. And if you don't really have any sort of goal you're working towards, think about something you're passionate about, something you want to, I don't want to necessarily say build, but something you want to learn and something you enjoy. And it's going to give you a really awesome feeling once you finally learn that skill or you figure out whatever you're doing. Next up on this list, I would really like to surround myself with more like-minded people, aka people with a producer mindset instead of a consumer mindset. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is talked about in the book I'm currently reading, Millionaire Fastlane, and I know it's kind of a clickbaity title, and if Ali Abdaal did not recommend it, I probably would not be reading it, because that title is pretty clickbaity, and it's kind of a get rich easy type thing, for lack of a better phrase, but it's actually really, really good. By the time you're seeing this, I've probably finished it. I might actually do a whole review on it, a video reviewing it. It's so good, but that's besides the point. But the difference between producing and consumer mindsets are exactly what it sounds like. A producer is like, I can build this, I see this, I can do it better, etc., etc. While a consumer is like, this is awesome, I love this is great, etc., etc. For example, we can just take this YouTube channel for example. I see some videos and I say, I want to do that, I can do that better. That's more of a producer mindset. But a consumer will just be like, wow, this is an awesome video, I want to watch more of these videos. Or they won't even notice how much work goes into the videos, and they'll just click off it, or whatever the case may be, and they might even dislike and unsub, because that's just who people are these days. But I feel like just surrounding myself with people with the same mindset, that's going to allow me to, I guess, be lifted up a little bit more and really push me to levels that I never thought were possible. Because a lot of the times I feel like you can do things by yourself, you don't need people, you can self-motivate, etc., etc. But at the same time, if you are surrounded by like-minded people, it can get you to a different gear, I personally feel like, than you would think is possible. And if you are someone like me that really maybe has not done a great job of surrounding yourself with like-minded people for a consistent period of time, try it and see what happens, because every single person I know that has done that has seen fantastic, great, however you want to phrase it, results. Next up on this list, and this is going to be a pretty quick one, is I want to stop pushing people away, and I want to be a little bit more vulnerable, I guess you could say. I've always had a bad habit of pushing people away in all shapes and sizes, which I guess is kind of tied to the last goal we went over, which is surrounding myself with like-minded people. But I'd really like to stop pushing people away and almost welcome, I don't want to say more people into my circle, but welcome the right people into my circle, and understand that not every single person is going to burn me, I guess you can say, because if I continue to build these great relationships and I continue to find the right relationships and let the right people in, like I just talked about, it's really going to be very uplifting, and I feel at the end of the day, nothing bad will come out of it. I just have to be very careful that I am letting the right people in. Next up on this list, and this is another personal goal, I really want to travel to 3 new places I've never been to in 2022, because I don't know if I mentioned this on the channel or not, I really do want to move out of Rhode Island. I think it would be really awesome to try to live in a different state by yourself where you don't know anyone and essentially start all over for a year or two of my life. And I feel like my 20s is the best time to do that. While I don't have a significant other or kids or anything like that, I feel like now would be the best time. So I really want to travel to 3 new places. I'm thinking New York. I know, who in New England has never been to New York? But I've never been. COVID stopped me twice now. Hopefully it will not stop me the 3rd time. But I'm thinking New York, maybe Philly. I definitely want to go somewhere out west, like Vegas or California, because I've never been there. And then I have a friend that lives in North Carolina. If she's watching this, hello. We'll be in touch soon. But I'd really like to go to North Carolina. Those places are interesting for me to live, mainly like Vegas and North Carolina. But yeah, definitely want to travel to 3 new places, and I just want to see more of the world than I've seen so far in the first 25 years of my life. And I really do encourage people to travel. A lot of people don't like to travel, but I feel like you can just learn so much, and every time I've traveled, I've met so many new people, and it's kind of just changed the way that my mind thinks by talking to those people and how they live in different states. So hopefully that makes sense, but I would really encourage traveling if you've never been someone to travel around the country or the world. Second to last goal up on this list is I'd really like to read 100 books. Now, this is not 100 physical books. This is a combination of audiobooks and also physical books as well, because I just don't think I would have the time or to read 100 books, because that's on average about 2 books a week or so. So I don't think I could do that unless they were all very short picture books. So I'd kind of like to split them down the middle, half audio, half physical, kind of like I was just hinting at. But at the same time, say I read 85 books and 5 or 6 of those books were like 1,000-page books, I'd be okay with that. Absolutely 110%. But I think it'd be really cool to say that I read 100 books this year. And I really think it would change my life a lot, because I feel like I would just learn so much. I think books are one of the best investments you can make personally, because think about it, a book, especially a nonfiction book, you can learn so much from that, because a lot of the times, this is how Ali Abdaal refers to it as, and I completely agree with him, a nonfiction book can be someone's entire life's work put into a few hundred pages, which is absolutely incredible. And I think that's a fantastic way of looking at it. So I would definitely like to read 100 books. At the time of me filming this video, I have read 4, 2 on Audible, 2 physical books. I'm halfway through that Millionaire Fastlane book that I talked about earlier in the video. Again, that's probably done by the time you're watching this, but try reading more this year and see what happens to yourself. I'd really recommend it because ever since I've started reading books, my mindset has just changed so much. The way I think has just evolved astronomically. And I don't think I'd be sitting in front of you today if I never started reading books, to be perfectly honest. And the last goal up on this list, and I'm sure everyone's been wondering when this goal would be coming up on this list, but I don't have too many stock market related goals. The only goal I have from a monetary perspective is to just become a better investor, because I'm not someone who puts percentage gains or amounts of money in goals, I guess you could say, if that makes sense. So I'm not someone that's saying, I want to be a millionaire this year. I want to make $500,000 in the stock market this year. I'm going to get a 40 or 50% return this year. I don't like to do those things because I feel like that puts too much of a time frame on it. As you guys know, I'm a long-term investor, so I don't care what's happening today, tomorrow, next week, next month. I care what's going to happen over the next 3, 5, 10 years. And I feel like if I were to put those percentages or those numbers in specific goals, the way my mind works is I would be trying to do irrational things that I am not good at. I feel like I would be trying to get in and out of stocks really quickly because I'd be concerned about short-term moves. And I feel at the end of the day that would limit me or limit the gains that I would make over the long term, because I would get too caught up in what's going on in the short term, if that makes sense. So I just try to focus on the long term. I really just want to become a better investor in all ways, not just the stock market, but I'd like to look into real estate a little bit more. I don't have any desire to buy properties yet, but I definitely will one day. Kind of look into really other opportunities and find different places that I can potentially put money one day. And this is a good example for anyone that's a new investor out there. Maybe you're someone saying you don't have the money right now, or you just can't afford it, or whatever the case may be. If that's the case, now is the time to educate yourself, because one day when you do have the money, you already have the knowledge, you already have the background, and you can just jump right in and start funneling money into that new venture if you decide to. Anyway, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to be back to posting content full time. I have another system in place right now that's really going to allow me to push out a lot more content, I think. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Let me know if you got any sort of value out of this at all. And let me know what you'd like to accomplish in 2022 down in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next video.